Hello hungry learners, welcome back to the Storytelling Science Lab YouTube channel. In this video we'll be reading a short story about a boy named Borton who lives on Coelicious Amide, the capital of the Coalition of Planets. This is a journal entry on his birthday. Bzz, bzz, bzz. I hit my alarm clock's snooze button to make it stop that despicable sound. The year is 2140 and I cannot believe we still use these outdated things. I set my alarm for 6 o'clock today because it's my birthday, and my dad said he had something special for me before he goes to work today. I'm sad they wouldn't let him take off, or at least have a shorter shift today, but I guess no one else wanted to work on the orbital shipyard on Formation Day. Oh well. I began to run downstairs and almost forgot to get dressed. I was so excited. I had to stop and throw on some clothes before heading down for breakfast with my dad. He was waiting at the table with pancakes my mom had made, my favorite with the meat pine syrup. "Good morning, Borton. I can't believe you're already 13, he said. I smiled wide and said, "Good morning, Dad. Didn't you say you had a surprise for me?" He looked down at the pancakes, smiled, and said, "These cakes aren't going to eat themselves. You'll get to see the surprise after breakfast." I sat down at my usual spot and dug in, done eating in record time. I took my plate to the wash recycler and sat down again, waiting for Dad to finish. I said, "Did Mom already go to work?" Dad nodded and said, "There was an emergency at the hospital, and they had to call her in. She tried to find someone else to take her place, but no one could. I'm sorry. But she said to wish you happy birthday and give you a hug." He leaned over to hug me. Once he finished, he took his plate to the wash recycler. He looked at me, looked at his watch, and then said, "Come with me to the orbital commute station. I'll give you your surprise there." I didn't think he would be able to give me my surprise until after he got back from work, but this was good to hear. I perked up and ran to put on my shoes. Dad said, "I think you're old enough now to ride the monorail home by yourself, right?" I grabbed my rail pass and said, "Yeah, I think so." I nodded, but I was playing it cool. I was freaking out with a capital F. This is the first time my parents were going to let me ride the train by myself. I sat in my dad's lounge chair while he finished getting ready for work. It was just past a third till 7, and Dad was ready to go to work. Dad scruffed my hair and said, "Are you ready to go?" I jumped out of the chair and said, "Sir, yes, sir." It's rare that I get to take the train anywhere since my school is just a quarter's walk from my apartment, and we don't travel to see Grandma but twice a year. The train station is a little less than a 12th walk from my apartment. The walkway to the train station is raised above the roads but below the skyways most of the way. Close to my apartment is one part of the walkway that's not raised, so it's easy to access. Once we made it to the train station, I proudly swiped my rail pass, and Dad was right behind me. The station was bustling with people, coming and going from all over the continent for Formation Day celebrations. The train was slightly early today, as they run more trains than normal for the holiday. We stepped on board. This train was going to the Amide Atrium station, before the Trent Brook Orbital Commute Station. The conductor said, "Please fasten your seatbelts and prepare for acceleration." We were already seated, and the train started to accelerate. I'm not sure how it works, but Dad always says they use less fuel than taking a personal vehicle, and it's cheaper to ride the trains. He also says you can go almost anywhere on Amide, even to Stek, the capital city. The train kept accelerating till the screen said we were going Mach 2. After a short time, the train started to slow down to stop at the Amide Atrium, a huge art gallery where artists from around the entire galaxy vie for a moment in the spotlight. To most of us, it's an amazing art museum. For some, it's a bank where one's most prized assets are kept and put on display. We stayed seated and waited for people to get off at the atrium and get on to ride the train to another destination. The conductor said, "Please fasten your seatbelts and prepare for acceleration," again. He says that every time the train is going to start moving. As we started moving again, I leaned on my dad and said, "Can you tell me what the surprise is?" He put his arm around me and said, "No, not yet. You'll get to see it once we get to the station." The time went by quickly, and before I knew we were at Trent Brook Orbital Commute Station, the train slowed to a stop, hanging from the dynamic monorail system. We got to our seats, and Dad helped me get unbuckled. I always have trouble figuring out this shackle. He quickly showed me two more times how to unbuckle it so I wouldn't forget on my ride home by myself. We stepped off the train onto the station's platform, but we weren't at the orbital launch system yet. I had only seen the massive 20-kilometer railgun a few times before, so this was a real treat. We walked up to the rail checkout kiosk and swiped our cards just like before. This train station is underground, so we had to walk up some stairs before you could see the orbital launcher. It was just as huge as I remember. You could barely see the ramp at the end of the rails from here, almost 19 kilometers away. It was a clear day, so I could just make it out. I can't believe Dad gets to ride this every day on his way to work. It was a short walk to the orbital commute platform where Dad was going to give me my surprise. Once we got there, a massive orbital commute shuttle was waiting for him. It is a large dodecahedral structure about 30 meters tall. The shuttle has a large cone in front to help it cut through the atmosphere without slowing too much. We were standing just outside the gate to get on the platform. The shuttle was leaving in a sixth at 8:30. It takes around 2/3 of an hour to get to the commuter platform from home. My dad leaned over to me and said, "Get your rail pass ready." He took me by the hand and we started walking to the gate. "It's time I give you your surprise," he said. I walked with him, but a confused look befell my face, and I said, "I'm confused. What's the surprise?" Dad laughed and said, "I talked to some people and they actually did let me off today. And they also said you could go for a tour of the Coalition's Amide Orbital Shipyard with me as your tour guide." I was speechless. My jaw dropped. I ran to give Dad a big hug, then took his hand and ran through the gate. We swiped our passes and the gates opened. The last time I had been to space was when I was a baby. We moved here from Glebe Base, a small research station on the moon of Thrantra. That station is where my parents met and got married. They wanted to move somewhere else, less remote, to raise me and my sister. So my dad transferred to the shipyard over at Amide, and my mom to a hospital in Trentbrook. As we boarded the shuttle, my dad showed me where he normally sits. There was an extra seat where I could sit. There was still some time before the shuttle departed, so Dad took me to see the gyroscopic stabilizers at the center of the shuttle. A large disc would spin up to hundreds of rotations per second to stabilize the shuttle as it traveled, and could be used to precisely control the angle of the wind foil, which was pointed to maximize aerodynamics. The pilot said over the announcement system, "Departure in T-minus 180 seconds. The gyroscope started spinning faster and faster as departure came closer, but we didn't get to sit in a place where we could see them. After a short time, the shuttle began to move, powered by the massive magnetic field generated by the 20-kilometer rails of the orbital launcher. My dad told me the wind resistance would be far too great for this shuttle to go anywhere, but the wind foil is coated in a special ceramic coating that lets the air slide right past with nearly no resistance at all. Isn't that interesting?" I just smiled, excited to get to go into space. Fairly quickly, the shuttle was accelerated to high enough velocity to enter orbit. As we went up the ramp, it felt like gravity was much stronger than normal. After reaching the end of the ramp, the pilot said, "Free flight has begun. Please remain seated until the shuttle has cleared atmosphere." We soared through the sky over cities and mountains, lakes, clouds, and eventually I could see a large portion of Amide through the window. The shuttle quickly cleared the atmosphere, and the pilot said, "We have exited the atmosphere of Amide. You may feel free to walk around for 1/4. We stayed in our seats, but several others got up to stretch their legs. I kept staring at the window at my homeworld. I had only seen pictures of it from space. The view is just incredible. The clouds and the vast oceans. The surface of Amide is close to 80% ocean by area. After a short time, the pilot gave one last announcement. "Beginning docking procedure. Please find your seat and stay strapped in until docking is complete." The shuttle beginning to adjust its orientation to line up precisely with the exceptionally large shipyard. The time went by so quickly, and a thud followed by mechanical noises of the docking clamps engaging was heard. The lights came on full brightness. The pilot said, "Thank you for traveling with us. Welcome to Amide Orbital Shipyard. Watch your step off." Watch your step off the shuttle. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a comment, like and subscribe. Follow for part 2 as well, which will be coming out soon. Thank you to our patron, Saluma. Thank you to my video editor. If you'd like to support us, be sure to leave your credit card information in the comments below. Just kidding. Our patron is Storytelling Science Lab, just like our YouTube channel. A generous donation of $5 or $10 is very much appreciated. Thanks for watching. Have a good day and stay hungry.